Welcome everyone. I'm Alex Smith. I am an admissions officer here at Episcopal High School, and I'm excited to welcome Boys Lacrosse representatives to this panel that we're doing today. So, Coach Conklin, Jack, and Sammy, we're excited to have you here. If you all want to introduce yourselves, we'll get going.
Thanks, Ms. Smith. My name is Scott Conklin. I'm the head lacrosse coach here at Episcopal High School. I'm also the director of admissions. I have two children that are students at Episcopal and another daughter that lives on campus with us. I've been here for 15 years now as the head lacrosse coach, and most of that time in the admissions office.
I'm Jack Hines. I'm a senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I came to Episcopal my freshman year. I have three sisters, two of them of which are older and one of them that are younger. And I've been playing lacrosse since I was about in third grade.
I'm Sammy. I'm a junior from Harlem Lacrosse, Harlem, New York. I've been playing lacrosse for about going on 6 years now. I came to Episcopal last year as a sophomore, and I've been loving Episcopal ever since.
Great. Well, I'm excited to talk a little bit about the program and some of the teams that we have and just some of the highlights. So we do have two levels at Episcopal, a varsity team and also a JV team. We have a total about 55 or 60 boys that are playing lacrosse, and our goal is to win championships. And I'm not shy about sharing that with the kids. We want to win and we want to be successful, but we also want to do that in a way where we're working hard. We're working together as a team. We're being really good teammates, and we're doing it with good sportsmanship. And that's really what we preach throughout the program. But we have students coming in at all different levels, some with a lot of experience and others that are new to the sport. And, I love that about Episcopal, that we're able to accommodate students and athletes that are coming along with different ability levels. You can see some of the photos of our team. We have a really good coaching staff. Our varsity staff is Coach Blunt, Coach Gallegos, who I coached at Episcopal, and it's great having them back on the staff, and Coach Michael Spencer. And it's a great group of coaches that are knowledgeable about lacrosse, but are also very caring adults. And that's one of the things I love about being in a boarding school environment. We're not just coaching the kids on the team, we're living with them and seeing them in the dining hall in an evening. And that makes those relationships even a little bit more special. Our JV coaching staff, Coach Smith and Coach Plains are fantastic as well. And they bring a lot of energy, and they led our JV to a championship just a couple of years ago. We're fortunate to have some really amazing facilities at Episcopal, and particularly for our lacrosse team. So you see a photo there of Hershey Gym. That's where the field house is in terms of basketball courts and fitness center. So we do access the fitness center quite a bit. We have the Hummel Bowl is our home stadium, which you can see there in the bottom left. And that's just, I think it's the best high school stadium that I've played in, coached in, or anything. It's just, it's really an amazing place for our lacrosse players to compete against some of the best teams in the country. Here you can see our locker room. So they're almost professional level lockers for the boys, our free weight room, also our lacrosse Hall of Fame as well. So a lot of exciting things going on with our lacrosse program. And I'm excited to share more with you in the next few minutes here.
Great, thank you for that overview. So Jack and Sammy, if you could kind of give everybody a sense from your perspectives of what it's like to be on the lacrosse team, I think that would be kind of a great jumping off point.
Yeah, so right off the bat, coming in when I visited my 8th grade year, I kind of knew, the lacrosse team was a tight bunch of guys. They all got along well, played well, obviously at a high level. And then actually playing for them is a whole different experience. it's been amazing these past 4 years to play under Coach Conklin, play with his son Tyler, and the facilities are definitely next level versus anything I've ever seen. But all in all, the lacrosse team has definitely been a special place for me.
Back on what Jack said, the lacrosse team is a great group of guys who really take the sport seriously, and the coaching staff is amazing. They always support you. Like Jack said, when I toured here, I came to a lacrosse game. They were playing against the Matha. It's really cold. It was in a bowl, and I just feel like the bowl is just like a special place. Not all high schools have a stadium, or not even all colleges have a stadium. So that's like really cool for a lacrosse team to play inside the bowl, which is really cool. And yeah, it's just a great team to be on, honestly.
Great. Well, Coach Conklin, can you kind of give everybody a sense of what your off season looks like and kind of how that leads into the tryout period, in the spring and leading into the season?
Yeah, definitely. And we do quite a bit in the off season to prepare for what's going to be a really competitive spring and the schedule that we play. And the first thing I'll say is I want our lacrosse players to be involved in other sports at Episcopal and other activities. And that's something that we take a lot of pride in. So you're going to see our varsity lacrosse players playing other sports and contributing to our team. So that really takes priority. But that said, we do take pride in preparing for the season. It starts in the summer. We compete in the National High School Showcase, which is a very competitive tournament against other of the top high schools in the country. So that's great for our varsity level players. It's also a great introduction to our culture and our team, our coaches for those new players. So if you're coming in as a new player, I think you're experiencing, meeting 25, 30 guys and the coaches over the course of the summer. You come into this experience in the fall, really feeling like you're already a part of this community. So I think that's really helpful. In the fall and the winter, our captains and seniors will organize practices on the weekends. And those are just kind of informal get-togethers, but I think the kids really enjoy those moments. Coaches are only allowed to work with up to 5 players at a time. So the coaches will do some skill work with the players, but we're not really coaching the team as a whole in the off season. We do compete in the high school showcase in the fall as well. We just finished that up a couple weeks ago, which is a great opportunity to just kind of end the fall. It leads into our Thanksgiving break. We did compete last winter in an indoor league that was 7-on-7. Again, I wasn't able to coach that. We had some parents and alums help out coaching that team. And then we'll test over this winter as well. So we'll do some strength testing, some skill work testing, just to make sure the kids are improving and working hard on their game.
Awesome. Well, Sammy, can you kind of talk a little bit about what a typical practice looks like? So when you're here on campus and kind of what time frame you're going to practice, and then what an actual practice usually looks like during the season.
So for me, I'm a goalie, so mine might be totally different from Jack. But usually practice will start around 4 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So I'll probably get there around 3:45, or the whole team gets there 3:45. Get there early. I'll get like a nice little warm up in, and then we'll just go get after it from there. So that's like a typical practice, just hours straight, just competitive lacrosse back and forth, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of like what Sammy said there, and touching base on what Coach Conklin said about playing different sports. At Episcopal, you kind of have to play, or you have to do something every season. So I've played, football, soccer, basketball, and right after school, you may only have a little bit of time to get to practice. So that's where time management really comes into play, and I think Episcopal does a really good job at teaching you how to manage your time well. But practice is always a good time. Everyone gets after it. It's high level, high intensity. But yeah.
Awesome. Can you guys talk a little bit about your relationship with your coaches and kind of, Coach Conklin touched on it in terms of, it's great as coaches that we have our players here and we're able to kind of see them all the time at night. And it's a little bit different than a day school environment. But can you talk about how important your coaches have been to you and sort of what role they've played in your lives at Episcopal?
So Coach Conklin, so his son, Tyler Conklin, has been one of my really good friends since freshman year. So, going over to the Conklin's house has been kind of a reoccurring theme, year in and year out. And then Coach Blunt, was my freshman year advisor. So that was good, to create that bond. And then Coach Gallegos, just recently became a dean. So I'm seeing him more, everyday basis. But having to live with all my coaches has been a really good learning experience, and definitely helps make our bond a little bit better. Just seeing them every day and living together and all that type of stuff.
I on what Jack said. Like there's teachers who live on dorm with us, and then there's coaches who teach us in the classroom. So Mr. Blunt is my U.S. history teacher, and that's a tough one. But yeah, all of our coaches are amazing and fantastic. They all care about us and our future, and that's just what makes them special. Like they're just caring, and they're like our mentors away from home.
Awesome. Well, Coach Conklin, can you talk a little bit about what your program is like for someone coming in with a lot of experience, and then someone coming in with maybe they've never played lacrosse before and they don't really know much? How do you kind of coach both people and then anyone else that falls in that spectrum?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I do love that we bring players in from all different skill levels, all different backgrounds too. The number of states that are represented on our team. We've had international students on our team, and that's just really something that I enjoy. But for that higher level athlete that wants to play at the college level, each year we probably have 4 to 6 seniors that will go play college lacrosse. We've had players who have been ranked nationally in the country as really elite players, all Americans. So, I think the competitive schedule that we play, you're going to be going game in and game out against some of the best players in the country in our league. So and normally our league has 3 or 4 teams that are going to be in the top 30 or 40 in the country. So you're going to play top level competition. I think you're going to get quality coaching. You're going to get pushed in practice by the coaches, but also the players you're competing against. When you have, our roster probably has a total of 15 to 20 players that will go play college lacrosse between, senior, junior, and sophomore years. And so those daily practices where you're going against really good competition is going to help prepare you for that next level too. As far as the beginner, our JV as a team mentioned won a championship 2 years ago, and they did that with probably 4 or 5 players that never played lacrosse before, and they had a roster of 20 kids, and they needed those kids to contribute. So most beginners will start off on the JV level and work their game for a couple of years. But our JV coaches, in the varsity practices, as Jack and Sammy alluded to, those are more up-tempo practices. But the JV practices, they're going to take a little bit more time to break it down, to really develop those fundamental skills, the catching and throwing, shooting, ground balls, that are so important at the next level. And we've had, the kids who have kind of stuck through the JV program as beginners and worked hard, have earned a spot on the varsity by their junior or senior year. And some of those kids have become contributors for the varsity.
Great. Can you also touch on what your schedule is like? And so how many practices you have, games, what your league is like, how the tournaments work at the end of the season, all that kind of competition stuff? Yeah,
so we're going to play about a 20-game season. Maybe hopefully it's a little bit more, meaning that we've advanced further in the tournaments. But we play in 2 leagues, the IAC, which is Landon, Georgetown Prep, Bullis, which are Maryland schools, St. Albans in DC, and St. Stephen's, St. Agnes, and Episcopal, which are both in Virginia. And that's a super competitive league. I would say it's perhaps the best league in the country, at least in the conversation with 1 or 2 other leagues. And then we also are fortunate to compete in the Virginia Independent School League. So There are about 20 to 25 schools that compete in Division I along with us. Traditionally, we've been in the top 5 in the state over the last few years. We won a state title in 2011. And so at the end of our season, we compete in the IEC tournament and then in the state tournament. So, we have a shot to compete for 2 championships.
Awesome. Can Sammy and Jack, I'd love to know sort of what some of your favorite parts about being on the lacrosse team, maybe favorite traditions that you have or a highlight that you can remember, but just something that kind of encapsulates what your experience has been like on the team.
Yeah, so kind of one tradition that we always do, being on the varsity team, is after every single win, we play one song in the locker room, like right when we get in there, and it's always fun to see everyone, dancing and singing along, all happy and everything. But you know what Coach Conklin said about the IC. It's one of the best conferences, if not the best conference, in the nation. So, these practices, they really tally up. You got to go 100% every day.
For me, I would say the best thing about being on this lacrosse team is just being around the guys. They're such a great group of guys who just want to play and be the best that they can be. And me being a competitive player, I always just want to play hard and get the best out of me and push myself to the limits. But yeah, it's just a great group of guys that I just love to be around.
Awesome. Well, Coach Conklin, can you talk a little bit about, so obviously you're a spring sport here at Episcopal, and so spring break often is kind of in the middle to the beginning of your season. Can you talk about what you typically, how you approach spring break for your guys?
Yeah, so the way our season starts, we start practice at the end of February, usually on President's Day. We have 2 weeks of kind of tryouts and a couple scrimmages before our spring break starts. And then the first week of our spring break, the kids are totally off. They get to go home, spend time with their family. And then the second week of spring break, we've traditionally gone on a spring break trip. The last 4 or 5 years, we've gone to Arizona as part of Trilogy Lacrosse. We've also been to parts of Florida before, South Carolina. But that's really when our season starts to come together. We start to build that team chemistry. We do invite anyone because there's so much planning that goes into the trip and planning that in the fall, we do invite anyone that's interested in trying out for the varsity. So you don't necessarily have to make the varsity to be a part of that trip. But the weather's fantastic. We get, over the course of 6 days, about 10 practices and 2 or 3 scrimmages in. We usually play our first game on that trip as well. And it's just fun, those bonding moments as a team where you're eating together, you're hanging out at the hotel together, they spend a lot of time on the field. There are a lot of good memories from those trips.
Awesome. Well, I'll leave it to you guys. Is there anything else that you want to say about your time on the lacrosse team, or to people who are watching this that are interested in Episcopal? You have the floor.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for, an amazing high school experience, and both academically and athletically, Episcopal has definitely been a wonderful decision for me and my family. So, make the right choice.
Great. And I'll finish up and just say that, I'm excited for the next group of lacrosse players to come in. This is, it's I don't hide it, but it's the favorite part of my day is going out to the fields at 3:30 and being with the boys and working hard to prepare for our season and just those moments together. So we've got a great school, a great culture on our lacrosse team, and we're really looking forward to the next group of Jack Hines and Sammy McElroys to be a part of this program. So I hope you all, if you do have questions, that you can reach out to me or any of the players, and we'd be happy to answer any specific questions that you have.
Great. Well, thanks all of you for taking your time to do this, and thanks for watching. And like Coach Conklin said, if you have any questions, about lacrosse or about Episcopal, let us know. We'd be happy to help as you go through the process. Thank you.